What's up, guys? MMA Math back here. We're gonna break down the Ultimate Fighter 27 finale prediction show, which airs Friday on Fox Sports 1, if I'm not mistaken. So let's get to it. The first fight that we got is Gerald Mearshart versus Oscar Piechota.
Alright, on this one, Gerald Michart's entering with a record of 27 wins and 9 losses. His last fight was against Eric Spicely, which he won by knockout. He's got a UFC record of 3 wins and 1 loss. He's got a performance of a night, 2-time winner against Eric Spicely and Joe Gerardo, and he's a very good grappler in my opinion. He's taken on Oscar Pinocha, whose record is 11 wins, no losses, and 1 draw. His last fight was a win against Tim Williams, which was a knockout. He enters the UFC with a 2-0 record. He's got very good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and has knockout power in both hands. I think this is going to be a good fight this weekend.
Alright, cool. Who you got winning?
And my pick, I'm picking Gerard Mearshart by decision.
Oh, you heard it here first, guys. Well, I agree with everything you just said. I'm going to go ahead and say I'm picking Oscar Piocha by round 2 KO. So the next fight we have on the card is Matt Brissett versus Steven Peterson. Alright, Max will break it down for me.
Matt Brissett's record entering this fight is 22 wins and 8 losses. His last fight was a loss against Enrique Barzola by decision. He got a UFC record of 0-1. And Matt Brissett, he's very creative and has a unique fighting stance from what I saw. And he can finish the fight from anywhere. He's taking on Steven Peterson, who's entering with a record of 16 wins and 7 losses. His last fight was a loss to Brandon Davis by decision. His UFC record is 0-1. He's very aggressive, he got very, very good conditioning, and he's strong from what I saw. He's like an ox. He can take punches and go for days. Am I picking this one, Steven Peterson, by second round KO?
Alright, nice pick, nice pick. The last time Matt Brissett come out, he got a little overwhelmed. I think it might have been the new to UFC jitters. But this time I think he's going to follow through and get the second round KO. Let's go on to the next fight. We got John Gunther and Alan Zuniga.
Yeah, and guys, we were not able to find any research on these because these guys are just added recently. I'm going with Alan Zanung in this one.
Yeah, like Maxwell said, I don't really watch the Ultimate Fighter. There's too much bullshit on there. I like the Tuesday Night Contender Series a lot better. It's just fights, and I mean, I did start out watching the Ultimate Fighter, but I don't know. I got bored of it real quick. I wish I'd just throw up the fights on there, to be honest with you. But so Maxwell went with Alan Zuniga via decision. I'm gonna go with John Gunther via decision. Alright. So the next fight that we have on the card is Luis Pena and Richie Smullen, which is another 2 fighters from the Ultimate Fighter. Maxwell, you got any research done on these guys? Oh, and by the way, guys, the fights that are playing in the background are just highlights that I've got from the online ranked. And there wasn't really any fighters aside from Tavares on the card that are on the game, so that's why you got these randos fighting on here.
I did a little bit of research about these. Luis Pena's got a record of 4 wins and no losses. His last fight was against Brandon Schickliel, which he won by submission. He's making his debut. He's got a nickname that I think is pretty cool. His nickname is Violent Bob Ross.
Yeah.
He's got a 6-fight win streak coming into this, and he's a real tough fighter. Richie Smullen's record entering is 3 wins and 1 draw. His last fight's against Ray McKee, which was a draw, also making his debut, and he's also on a 6-fight win streak. I think this is going to be a good fight between these two. I'm taking Richie Smullen by second round sub.
Yeah, what I did see of the Ultimate Fighter, I did notice the Violent Bob Ross, and you know, I really didn't watch enough of it to know, but I know he's got like curly red hair, and he does
Yeah,
kind of look like Bob Ross. So I'm gonna go with Luis Pena, first round KO.
nice.
Let me change something real quick. Now all these guys were undefeated too, or they did some of them did have draws on the record though. But I was kind of impressed with him what I did see. But the other guy, Richie Smallin, I don't really remember him. So all right, so we're going on to the next fight on the card. I have these broke down. We got Montana De La Rosa versus Rachel Ostovich. What you got, Maxwell?
Montana De La Rosa's record is 8 wins and 4 losses. Her last fight was a win against Christina Marks by a sub. She's 1-0 in the UFC. She's a good wrestler with excellent Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. She's dangerous when on the ground. Two of her four losses are to Cynthia Calvillo and Mackenzie Dern, and 6 of her 8 wins are by sub. Rachel Oshpritz's record is 4 wins and 3 losses. Her last fight was a win against Karen Giovanni by sub. Has a very good stand-up game and is good on the ground, and also has a background in judo. But my pick's gonna be Montana De La Rosa by 3rd round submission.
All right, nice. Uh, Rachel Ostovich Berdon is a smoke show. She's hot. She comes from Invicta. She got a nice kick gang, and I noticed in one of her fights that I watched, she kicks a lot. Kicks a lot to the legs and switches it up to the head. She's also really good grappling, as Max said. She's got a notable loss against Christine Ferreira, and it was a close fight, and she took some heavy shots. In her last fight, she made her UFC debut in the tough finale, and she caught the 5-pound overweight Karine Jarvangian in an armbar in the round 1. The only fight I could find for Montana was the Tough 26 finale against Christina Marks. She finished her with an armbar in the first. It's a toss-up, really, but I'm going to go with Rachel Ostovich via armbar in round 2.
Good job.
Okay, so the next fight on the card, we got Alessio Del Churcha versus Julian Marquez.
Alright. Alessio De Churcha, his record is 11 wins and 2 losses. His last fight was against Alawa Mambosa, which he won by knockout. He's got a record of 2-2 in the UFC. It's a performance of a not winner against Alawa Mambosa. He has a good ground game, he's very powerful, and he can finish the fight from anywhere. He's taken on, I think, one of the up-and-comer fighters in Julian, the Cuban Missile Crisis Marquez. His record 7 wins and 1 loss. His last fight was a win against Darren Stewart by decision, which that earned him Fight of the Night also. He beat a legend in Matt Hamill. 6 of his 7 wins are by knockout, and he's a good wrestler and has great Thai boxing skills, and his jiu-jitsu's off the chain. I'm going to take the Cuban Missile Crisis Julian Marquez by 1st round KO.
Nice. On this one, Julian Marquez, the Cuban Missile Crisis, was just pretty cool. He made his debut in the Contender Series, and he's intense. He's very speedy, and he can also take a punch. He looked good in his debut against Julian Halls, and he got back up and won the fight. So then he fought Darren Stewart, and he gave Marquez trouble. And then Marquez caught Stewart in a sloppy looking. He's got heavy hands, and to me he looks really amateur. Alessio Manzo Churcha is well-rounded, 11-2, and he's got 6 finishes. His last win was quick and easy knee from a clinch. He's got great cardio, and I think that will be the difference in this fight. So I'm picking Alessio Del Churcha via KO in round 3. I think the first 2 rounds are going to be tough for him against the Cuban Missile Crisis, but I think he's going to get it done in round 3 after he gets tired. Okay, so the next fight is Roxanne Modafferi and Barb Hancock. Sorry, Bob.
Alright, Roxanne Modafferi has got a record of 21 wins and 15 losses. Her last fight was lost to Nico Montana by decision. Her UFC record is 0-2. She has a great jiu-jitsu game. Has some key losses to Raquel Pennington and Sarah Kaufman. Um, and when she can win, and she wins a great ground game, and she's very experienced. And early in her career, she has a win over Roxanne at the BEP5, which is a breast cancer beatdown. She's a good fighter.
And she's another Invicta and tough. She was well, she wasn't in tough, but she fought in the tough finale. She was number one pick. Well, yeah, actually, she wasn't tough. I'm sorry. She was number one pick overall in tough 26. She's a well-rounded fighter. She's really good at everything. She's almost 40, which is crazy for a women fighter. Um, she's a beast on the ground. She's got really good jiu-jitsu, good ground and pound. And I believe in her last fight against Montano, she only had 12 hours notice, and it was for the first ever 125-pound championship, I believe. If I'm not, am I right about that?
That's correct. The first flyweight.
Yeah. And is that girl still the champ at 125?
I believe so.
She hadn't had a fight since then, I don't believe. But
Mm-mm.
and then yet another Invicta fighter. You'll see on the next card also. There's more Invicta fighters coming into the UFC. Smoking hot, Barb Hancock. She's a former Invicta strawweight champ. She's got several notable wins, and you know what I did notice in her corner, she's got Pat Milicic as her head trainer, and Pat comes out to corner her also, which that says a lot if Pat's out there with her. I don't really see him going out there with too many women fighters. And then I'm gonna give this one to Barb Hancock and split decision win, and it's potential fight of the night. Okay, let me scroll back up here. The next fight on the card, we got Alex Bruce Leroy Caceres versus Martin Bravo. Max will break it down for me.
Alex Caceres, his record is 13 wins and 11 losses. The last fight was a loss to Wayne Gone by decision. His record in the UFC is 8 wins, 9 losses, and 1 no contest. He has a very unorthodox fighting stance, and he's very predictable. He's a 2-time Fighter of the Night winner, one coming against Sergio Pettis, 2-time sub Night of the winner, won by DeMarco Page. Got some key losses early in his career to Uriah Faber, Francisco Rivera, Yair Rodriguez, and Jason Knight. His biggest win of his career was against Sergio. And then I think he's got one of the coolest names, Bruce Leroy. And he's facing Martin Bravo, who's entering with the record of 12 wins and 1 loss. His last fight was a loss to Humberto Bernardini by KO. His UFC record's 1-1. Martin Bravo is a very good fighter, and he can stand the bank for days. I think Bruce Leroy's got his hands full in this one. I picked Martin Bravo, 2nd round KO.
Alright, very good. We'll see. Bruce Leroy, he seems like the kind of guy that the UFC throws up at up-and-comers, which we've seen with like Jason Knight, to see if they're ready for the big show. And he's really not an expert in any part of MMA. He's just decent at everything. He's got really weird movements and an unorthodox style of striking. He's only 13-11, but in my opinion, he's just kind of like a mid-tier fighter. He's got a few losses via rear naked choke, mostly in round 3 also. So that's something to look for. But then you got Martin El Toro Bravo. He's the Ultimate Fighter finale or Latino winner, and he's got 9 finishes in a career via KO and submission. He's very balanced. I think the UFC is throwing him Alex for a test, and I'm picking Martin Bravo via round 2 submission. Okay, so next on the card we got the main event here. We've got Brad Tavares and Israel, the last stylebender Asanya.
Alright. Brad Tavares is entering this fight with a record of 17 wins and 5 losses. His last fight was a win against Krzysztof Joko by KO. His UFC record is 12 wins and 4 losses. He has great striking skills and is very tough. Big career wins are against Thais Latis, Elias Theodoros, Nate Marquette, and Lorenzo Larkin. He got some early career losses against Yoel Romero and Robert Whitaker and Tim Boach. And most of Brad Tavares' career wins have been come via decision, which that's very, very unheard of. And he is taking on Israel Adesanya. His record is 13-0. Last fight was a win against Marion Morono by decision. UFC record is 2-0. He is very creative and can catch you with anything from a flying knee to backspin and back fist and elbow. He's very open-minded in his craft game, known as a lifestyle bender, and many has compared him to the next John Jones with his ability. His biggest win came over Melvin Guillard in the AFC 20, the Australian Fighting Championship. And my pick is going to be Israel Adesanya by first round KO.
All right, man. To me, this will be a great fight for stand-up fans. Tavares he's got many notable wins against Talis Letas. Is one of his newest wins, and you shouldn't see much groundwork here. But pump the brakes just a little bit. I'm all over the Stylebender hot train, and I'm taking him via round 1 KO. But the funny thing about him was his last outing, he didn't really look just super impressive. But there's something about people like him, like the Michael Venom Pages of the world, is kind of what I would say. Like, he's got a different kind of style that he brings to MMA. And he's a decorated kickboxer. He's got a lot of kickboxing wins, and I don't know. It should be an interesting fight. I want to see if Tavares is going to step up his grappling game a little bit. Maybe he might try to take him down and wear him out a little bit, because that's what happened to him in the last fight, which he won it was a pretty close decision in my opinion. So if Tavares can change his game up a little bit, that's one thing. But like you're gonna see at 226 when Gokhan Saki, that's somebody that you can kind of look at Israel and say he's a lot like him. He's got more of a striking style that some of these guys in the UFC just aren't at that level yet. But it should be an interesting night of fights. So a lot of people that really don't get much attention, and maybe you'll see some stars shine through the light on Friday. But what about the ultimate fighter? Do you think this might be the last one that we're gonna see?
I think so, since the deal with ESPN's done. More than likely, from the way Dana White's talking, he thinks this could be the last tough. And for America, that is. But he don't know about for the world.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping it goes away. I mean, it's done a lot of great things. Like look at Roy Nelson, Brendan Schaub, Nate Diaz come from the Ultimate Fighter. I mean, let's just go back a little bit here. I mean, Forrest Griffin, Stephan Bonner, that started the popularity for the UFC. So it has its place back in the day, but now I'm not so sure that people really want to see this what do you call it, reality TV in the UFC anymore.
Yeah.
In my opinion, if you watch the Contender Series, which most people haven't because it's on Fight Pass, that should be on TV. That right there to me is more entertaining because it's just fights, and it's fights from these up and comers. Like this season, we've already had Antonia Shevchenko. She was on there. We had Greg Hardy made his debut in the UFC on there, which was really cool to see. I know a lot of people hate on him, but we've also seen really skilled fighters that weren't in the UFC get contracts. I mean, the last two Tuesday Night Contender Series, there were 5 fights and 5 finishes. So I mean, there's some killers that are coming into that, and I think, to me, if the ESPN is going to market the UFC the way that I think they will, I think the Contender Series will take over, and it'll start being on regular TV, like on ESPN. But this is a big week of fights. I think tonight is the Hall of Fame. Is that not tonight? It's
That's
on.
tonight, I believe.
Yeah, it's on Fight Pass also. So you'll see Ronda Rousey get inducted and Matt Serra. I think that's the. Is that the only two this year?
They did the broadcaster that died too.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. So they're gonna induct him also.
Yeah.
Which, from my understanding, he was like running the show back then. Is there any more news going on in the UFC right now that we need to talk about?
I ain't really heard anything about today.
I did
Was there
see
some other?
where they're talking about Tony Ferguson is going to be next in line now. I don't know. I thought it was going to be Connor the way everybody was talking, but maybe some things come up. But Tony Ferguson, I think he's going to be fighting Khabib next. Is what I've been seeing,
Ooh, wait.
and that's
That'll be a
crazy.
heck of a fight.
Yeah, man. I'm super excited. I hope nothing crazy happens this time. I mean, we've had this fight set up what 3 times now at least,
Yeah.
and I want to see it. I want to see it finally. See what would happen between those two. And then also, I know Friday we got the Ultimate Fighter finale, but Saturday got the biggest fight card of the year. It seems like we say that every time there's a UFC two whatever. You know, the last time 225 was huge. Uh, then we got UFC 226 coming this Saturday. And let's look at that card real quick. We got Jamie Moore versus Emily Whitmore. Or Whitmire, Lando Venati versus Drakkar Close, Dan Hooker versus Gilbert Burns, Curtis Melinder versus Max Griffin, Rafael Sanso versus Rob Font, Paul Felder and Mike Platinum Mike Perry, Uriah Hall versus Paulo Costa, Gokhan Saki versus Khalil Roundtree, Michael Chiesa versus Anthony Pettis, Francis Ngannou versus Derek Lewis, Max Holloway versus Brian Ortega, and then Stipe versus DC. Oh my God, what a card! To me, this is going to be your first real super fight. It's going to be DC and Stipe for the Who's the Baddest Man on the Planet, which we're going to have a breakdown of that card tomorrow at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. That's Central Time. Right now, my time is 11:19, so. If you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you'll know when we go live so you can see what our picks are for this weekend's big fight, UFC 226. And also, I'm still doing the ranked featured fights. I don't know how much longer I'll be doing that. I might just do it to the end of August. I'm not sure. But today's the last day for season 3, I believe, too. So season 4 will be coming up soon.
No, season 4 started today.
Did it?
Yes.
It did start today. Okay, so if you're a UFC 3 fighter or player, then your record's wiped clean. You can start over today. I ended up being in the top 5,000. I don't know. I don't know exactly the number I was, but if you've been watching that, man, I appreciate everybody that's been tuning into the daily stream there. It's fun. It's something we like to do. Sometimes I can get Maxwell to join in with me on there. And this fight right here that you're watching now was Ben Saunders and Tyron Woodley. That was ultimate. That was the ranked fighter, the ranked daily challenge. So, but you got anything else to add, Maxwell?
No, just get ready for a good weekend of fights.
We got. Let me see here. Yeah, I got a couple more minutes left on the video. I'm gonna let it play out, guys. I thank everybody for watching. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for the UFC 226, and I'll be going live shortly after this video is done. And I'll see y'all then.
Peace.
Oh, by the way, the UFC patch dropped. What was it, yesterday or Monday night around midnight? And I've got all the legend fighters: the Matt Serra, Kimbo Slice, Vanderlei Silva, Tito Ortiz. Am I forgetting somebody here? Oh, Mirko Krokop. I've got a highlight
Kimbo
video.
Slice.
Yeah, I got all. Yeah, I said him. Wait, I've got the highlight video of all the new fighters, and I made a special video of Vanderlei Silva. I won a championship with him online yesterday, so if you hadn't already, check those out. And yeah, I think that's it, man. But thanks everybody for the views and the nice comments. And I guess we'll see y'all in a minute.
Peace.